So I'm very, very excited for the next presentation. We're going to be hearing from Rachel Bogan. Rachel is a partner at Work & Co. It's an award-winning global technology and design consultancy. Rachel leads the product management group there. And as one of the top executives at this 500 plus person company, which has been entrusted with digital transformation for clients, including Apple, IKEA, Gatorade, Nike, Disney, Airbnb, Givenchy, Mercedes, Planned Parenthood. The list goes on, but Rachel also leads Work & Co.'s latest AI work. So please join me in giving Rachel a very warm welcome. Here's Rachel Bogan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that really nice intro. I am Rachel Bogan. I lead the global product management group here at Work & Co. And I'm going to walk you through our thoughts on AI and retail and things that we're excited about. A little bit about Work & Co, just to kind of give you some more context about our experience. Work & Co was established 10 years ago, and we focus exclusively on bringing really transformative digital experiences to market that move the needle for our clients, their brands, and their business. And my personal focus for a lot of that time has been on our e-commerce work. We've had the opportunity to work with a number of really amazing brands transforming their digital experiences across mobile and web, in-store, touchscreen, you name it, from luxury brands like Givenchy and Aesop to Aldo, which is based in Canada, Athleta, IKEA from a global standpoint. So it's been really exciting to, over the last 10 years, to have a hand in bringing omni-channel retail experiences to market and really thinking about going forward how AI and innovations in this space might transform the future customer journey and back of house operations for retail. Today, I'm going to share a little bit about what we've been experimenting with when it comes to AI and things that we see on the landscape. And my goal is really to hopefully inspire you when it comes to reimagining your brand experience and give you some ideas for how to get started with this, what might feel quite uncharted territory with AI. So first, I'm going to walk through some digital trends in AI. And, you know, it feels so heavy to talk about AI and feel like the pace of change is so fast. And it's true. We are entering into a really remarkable era of innovation. It will take time for that to come to fruition. But what we're really excited about is being a part of that change and really seeing how AI and other innovations are going to transform everything from supply chain to customer product discovery. And how we shop and how we think about the future of interface is going to change, and it's going to change forever. And that's good, and that's exciting. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how we see that playing out over the next several years. First, a quick step back and maybe some additional context for some of you in the room. If you look at this screen here, you'll see a lot of brands that you probably use every day and have used for several years. And the reality is you and me and our customers, we've all been using AI for decades. AI has been shaping the experiences that we use on our mobile devices, on our websites. We just might not have known that that's sort of what it was called or the overall group of capabilities that were powering it. And truly, AI originates coming out of the 1950s. But I think where you really see this impacting customer experience is in the 2000s with algorithms from brands like Facebook and Netflix that are really powering the ability to bring relevant content to your customer experience. Fast forward to the 2010s, that's when neural networks come about, more advanced algorithms essentially that identify patterns that train on large sets of data of repetitive images or content, like pictures of cats or pictures of lampposts that you've probably experienced using CAPTCHA. And finally, fast forward to the last 12 months, that's when generative AI comes to the table, where you can not just recognize patterns, but also generate content. And the reason that that's exciting is because of the capabilities that it can unlock in terms of full end-to-end back and forth behavior between customers and brands. But I think we're all very aware of it because as users of digital products, digital platforms, these capabilities feel very accessible to us. We can all use ChatGPT. We can all use it for grocery planning or looking up recipes or figuring out where to go on our trips. And I think that is really exciting, but makes it feel a lot more democratized than maybe capabilities that have come about in the past. Some of the areas of innovation in AI, specifically when it comes to generative AI, that we're experimenting with internally and with our clients fall in a few different categories. And so those capabilities are powering natural language understanding, things like ChatGPT, Google Bard, Llama. We're also seeing more and more agents come into play and have an integrated part in customer experiences. Agents essentially fulfilling tasks on your behalf, or agents connecting with other agents to fulfill tasks that might have been quite manual in the past. And then obviously converting text into audio or video. And finally, converting text into images. Maybe you've played with Midjourney or DALL-E 2. Those are all the capabilities that AI is bringing to life in digital experiences today. And what we're very excited about is also, the pace of change, whether it's the big enterprise players that are coming to market, like Amazon Bedrock or Adobe, which are really going to power amazing enterprise level capabilities that we can bring into our customer facing explorations and products. But also there are so many new players on the market every day, like Quest AI, which enables the ability to generate front-end code from designs. This landscape will continue to change. And I think what we're really excited about is to see the enterprise players that are going to come to market, but also the smaller players that might have a meaningful impact on how you and I do our work every day. Last but not least, it's also worth mentioning that we're talking a lot about AI, but I think we're also, especially when it comes to thinking about user interface, Apple's recent announcements around spatial computing to us are really exciting. And I think we're coming up into a world where over the next 3 to 5 years, what we might see converge in terms of what AI can power in terms of more personalized experiences, married with augmented reality, is really going to change how we think about interface, whether it's in physical environments or on the screens that we have in our pocket or at our desk. And so at Work & Co, we've been experimenting with AI for a number of years, starting with chatbots that we've brought to market, like Rue, through Planned Parenthood, recommendation systems, contextual recommendations. But we've also done deeper explorations in-house using machine learning and sentiment analysis and multimodal search and image recognition, whether it's being able to search through our own design files and find things like common UX patterns or winning journeys for specific type of user functions, all the way to analyzing customer research and videos of those interviews to really synthesize information and recommendations that we can bring into our work. We're also doing a lot of work using natural language processing and LLMs, considering things like, how do you prevent hallucinations? How can you rank order results? How can you make sure a brand can kind of shape or control the experience that users are having with those conversational interfaces? And finally, thinking about things like, how will AI change the life cycle from design to live product? How will it change how designers and engineers work together to create products and maybe use AI to generate some of that code, but bring more expertise and hands-on coding to areas that are more complex and that need it. But specifically when it comes to retail, I think what we've been really excited about is really thinking about that interplay of UI and Copilot. So traditional structured website or mobile interfaces and AI-powered Copilots. Thinking about what customer journeys of the future might be and how we shortcut the traditional funnel from discovery all the way through conversion. And finally, how we deliver some more personalized experiences, again, powered by AI, but also lead users to results that they might not have thought about before. And so I'm going to take a little moment and share a video of some of that exploration for conversational commerce that brings some of those ideas to bear. What really excites me about this exploration and the work that we've been doing with clients when it comes to conversational UI is this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think what you guys can see in this experience is that you see those traditional UI patterns married with conversational elements. And I think as we look towards the future, what we see as opportunities is kind of imagining how user interface or user interactions will just fundamentally transform. And so what I'd like to walk you through now is to kind of get you thinking and provide some inspiration about what change might look like in the future. And I'm going to start with kind of walking through some examples for customer experience, and then we'll switch gears and talk a little bit about back of house. Before I flip to the next slide, we're going to watch a quick video from Spotify. And as you kind of watch this video, think a little bit, imagine, if you will, what this could mean for other types of experiences. If you're going to deliver a truly personalized experience powered by AI, what could that feel like for your brand? So we'll watch that little video now.
Hey Max, what's going on? I'm X, and from this moment on, I'm going to be your own personal AI DJ on Spotify. Let's go. Up next, I know you've been on a summer song kick lately, so I went back for some of your old summertime favorites. See if it warms you up.
So in this example, what we think is really exciting is it really helps you to think about what the future of personalization could be. In this case, with Spotify, you have your personal DJ in your pocket. But in the future, it could be that your personal AI co-pilot is on your wrist and you're out in the world thinking about taking up a new hobby or thinking about what your kids need for school. And you can interact with this co-pilot on your wrist and be shortcut to your retail experience to either buy what they need for back to school or to buy what you need to power some new cooking or gardening hobby that you have. This idea that experiences are going to be hyper personalized is really exciting. And we see AI really, really empowering that on the back end and enabling that ability to shortcut traditional discovery and browsing patterns. This is an exploration of search that we've been working on here at Work & Co. And I think search is a really interesting thing to think about for all experiences, but especially retail, where natural language seems to have the best immediate fit is through search experiences where users are typing, right? We're used to that. But I think what we've found in the work that we've been doing with clients and in speaking to users is that AI-powered search can be really powerful. And in many ways, we need to teach users or reteach users how to search. And so what AI or natural language powered search results can bring is additional education. Imagine here, you're searching for what gear you need for pickleball, but in a way, we're teaching you about how pickleball works. You need the paddle, you need the balls. This is how it works. You're also helping to teach people how to search through the results by giving them links that they can tap on, suggestions for where to search next, really helping to educate on those behaviors to get the most out of natural language powered search. This example from Perplexity brings this idea to a new level. Again, search is one of those things that we're used to searching for, flared jeans. We're not necessarily used to searching for flared jeans that go with blazers and work for the summer. The idea that we can power AI-driven search and more traditional capabilities like faceted search, the ability to drill down and to filter or to provide kind of ways to direct the search without it being a free form open language text, we think is something that will 100% come to bear. And it's really something we're thinking about to make sure that users get the most out of those search experiences. Dynamic content and content in general, the ability to manage really large swaths of product content, any sort of content that you're using for your experiences is so ripe when it comes to AI. And this example from Airbnb is really interesting. By using AI, the team was able to create cohesive categories of available inventory that made it exciting for users to want to book, places in the mountains or unusual Airbnb houses or whatever it might be. So the ability to use the inventory, take the inventory you have and use AI to shape more cohesive categories that maybe you as your content manager wouldn't have thought of, we think is super powerful, especially if you can also tie that up with user analytics. There's so much that would be unlocked here. It has unlimited potential for businesses and for the user experience. And finally, this really interesting example from Google Virtual Tryon. They're using AI-powered matching of the actual products with different models, different angles to really help users get an understanding of how product fits, how it drapes, what it looks like on you, which in the past would have been untenable. There is no way that any brand could take all of the product model shots needed to bring this to life. So I think we're really excited about how, again, AI can be used to power really customized and personalized content that enriches the customer experience. Text to shop. I don't know if any of you guys have tried this with Walmart, but AI-powered text to shop is super interesting. It essentially shortcuts the traditional website or mobile experience altogether, where you're essentially texting your own personal assistant with what to buy, how to book your store pickup. These experiences are getting really a lot more streamlined, and I think for the right types of retail scenarios can be really powerful in the future, especially for things like grocery or categories where users are thinking about replenishment. Back of house. So I know when most people think about AI, they think about all the really incredible user experiences that it's going to power. But I think what I'm actually really excited about is what it's going to power for businesses and for employees. And I think that this has really great potential when it comes to the retail space. Of course, the entry level sort of starting point of any discussion of AI is around customer support. And so the ability for AI to be used in place of physical customer service agents, but rather than take away jobs, the way I think about this and think about it in the case of sales associates or anything like that, is you could also free them up to focus on more complex tasks. And I think that's really powerful. We're also about to see the sort of customer facing version of agents, which I think has a lot of use on the B2B side, where essentially AI-powered agents, almost like a little digital person that works for you, will be able to complete complex tasks, and you'll be able to plug those into digital experiences that either your customer use or your sales associate uses. And I think that's really powerful as well. Again, just sort of shortcutting those everyday tasks and freeing up time to focus on more complex ones. Of course, there are so many players coming out now where AI is being used to analyze feedback, to synthesize research, to provide real-time data around customer segments, revenue operations, other data points. And I think this is especially important with all the emerging rules and regulations worldwide around privacy and customer data. We're not going to be able to store data for years at a time. And so it's really important that brands are able to analyze data in real time around their customers to flex and optimize the products that they have in market. And something that I'm really passionate about is also thinking about AI as, who's the co-pilot in your sales associates' pockets? So the sales employees that you have on the stores of your various retail establishments, what are they using to keep them informed about what's happening in store that day, promotions, new rules, and things that are happening, all the way to what can we tell them about the customers that are coming in store? What can we tell them about what's in stock, or what recommendations to provide? And so what we're inspired by is thinking about experiences that we've created years ago and how you might change how they would be designed or powered today if they used AI. In this case, could AI summarize all the things a user needs, or a store employee needs to know the 5 minutes they have in the back room before they hit the floor? We think that's really exciting. Of course, thinking into the future, we're also seeing with some brands using AI and robotic inventory scanning to ensure product availability and placement. Again, really using AI when it comes to inventory management, which is really powerful. In this case with Sam's Club, we've seen examples like this with Walmart that have actually been around for years. The Amazon stores have elements of this as well, and I'm sure that this will continue to evolve over the next several years. And then I'm going to jump to another example from SoundHound. I'm going to let that play, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that.
This is dynamic. That means natural language understanding that happens as fast as you speak. The system is already listening. Watch the cart update in real time as we order. Can I get a pulled pork burger with a deli bun and mustard and pickles? I'd also like a kid's mac and cheese with milk and yogurt and a large Coke and French fries. We can edit the cart with voice. Make the Coke a small, I don't want the French fries, and change that to apple juice for the kids' mac and cheese.
So what's really exciting about this, whether in a employee or back of house facing context or a customer facing context, you and I probably use Siri or Alexa or your Google Home every day. I'm always talking to my car. Like the idea that real-time voice to text can be this fast and this accurate. I mean, imagine what it could shortcut in any sort of inventory management scenario or customer scenario, ordering in store. We think this is super interesting and a space that will continue to evolve. So where to start? So many ideas. It can be really overwhelming. I think the takeaways that we have, especially when it comes to retail and what we're sort of really anchored in, is, whether this was 5 years ago or where we are now, in retail, it's really important that we're always thinking about creating deeper and more personal relationships with customers. And equally important that we're creating those types of relationships and making it easy for employees to do their best work. And so we're always anchored in how can the tools that we have available, whether it's AI or other types of tools, really deliver on that kind of a customer experience. And what we've seen with a number of the companies that we work with is there are tons of ways to get started when it comes to AI, whether you want to go the route of M&A or equity deals. Some brands like Expedia or Walmart have entry-level product features in the form of bots or text to shop. You can also have just an entry-level feature for your organization to get familiar with AI, whether it's to power customer support or content creation, or you as a team can play with some of the toys out there, like Quest, to experiment with how your designers or your developers are incorporating AI into their day-to-day. It's also completely okay to take a wait and see approach, especially when it comes to enterprise tooling, like for search or other capabilities of that nature. So how to get started? We really recommend just anchoring yourself in the mission and vision of your organization, thinking about how can these capabilities help you engage customers, help you engage in-house teams, and really enrich your brand experience. So what we've seen a lot of organizations have success is by starting with first, just getting inspired. It's talks like this one that help individuals in your organization to see the capabilities of AI and to imagine what it could bring for your experience. Determine a area that's right to really focus on, and how you want to operate. Do you want to just do test and see, or do you want to go all in and have some sort of investment opportunity? We also recommend starting small. This landscape is changing so fast. Giving yourself room to iterate is really, really important. And finally, we're in for the long haul. This is not going to change overnight. So continuously sharing learnings across your organization, encouraging them to play around, to share, to experiment, will all bring everybody forward in the months and years to come. And if you guys are interested about what we're doing over here at Work & Co, please stay in touch. We have an AI hub. You can access it at work.co/AI. We're always talking about the experiments that we're doing, what we're doing with our various client partners, what our practitioners from design and engineering and product management are thinking about, and we'd love to stay in touch. So with that, I think I have made it just in time for the Q&A. I'll kick it back over. I am not sure if any questions have come through or if there's anything that I can help address.
There definitely are questions. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was, wow, lots of food for thought there. Thank you for sharing those resources at the end and that call to action to stay in touch. I will be, definitely. Yeah, we do have some questions. I'm gonna head in and we have a question from Leslie, and I think this is in reference to there's a lot of kind of front-end content sort of being generated on the fly, it seems, driven by AI. And Leslie's asking, how will this take into account some of the legal requirements around accessibility?
Yeah, it's such a good point. I mean, I think that's where some of those enterprise tooling solutions, whether it's something like Adobe Firefly, is going to be really important. I know in the US, the recent, I think they're calling it the AI Code of Conduct or AI Bill of Rights, something like that. They're talking about including things like FPOs, watermarks on all generated content. And I think it's going to be really important that generated content is flagged as such and also has that layer of things like accessibility to make sure that all of the contrast is there, or to make sure that people understand what's being generated through AI versus the brand. And I think as a brand, it's especially important that you have the mechanisms in place to control that. And that's where those enterprise tools, I think, are going to be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Just speaking about sort of accessibility, and you talked about kind of starting small and accessibility for everyone. I realize, you know, your company works with a lot of like really large companies, large clients. I do a lot of work with startups, kind of the smaller players. And are these tools accessible to those smaller players? You know, are we setting customer experience expectations so high that, you know, people just entering the space, can they still compete? Can they still get in on this game?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I really believe that, you know, I think we're expecting that the customer experience will change, or that customers expect something different from the experience. But the reality is, when you look at a lot of the conversational experiences that I showed today, or the ones that exist in market, that's not very different from what customers already have. You already have chatbots, you already have the UI that you need. I think a really great place to start for any startup is, again, there's so many really interesting tools that are totally accessible and low cost that you can start experimenting with things like, how do you generate code from your designs? How can you categorize content using a tool? How can you synthesize user research results using a tool? And that is going to free up more time for you to be creative, for you to think about your business. And I would really lean into AI from that angle if you're just starting out.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I have a couple of questions that are sort of related to the whole kind of personalization angle. One from Mia is asking, when will we be able to see ourselves in the clothes before buying them? Is this already being done? I think this is related to the moment in your presentation when you were saying kind of AR needs its iPhone moment. But how close are we? Is anyone doing that where we can try on without leaving our homes?
I mean, it already exists. I think especially in the beauty category, right? Like, there are applications where you can try things on. It exists. I was just on the Ruggable site last night, where you can see the product in your home. This exists. I think the question is, will you want a digital version of yourself out on the internet? So whenever you're shopping, you see the clothes on you, no matter where you are. I don't know. I don't know if I want that. So again, I think it all feels very futuristic now, but I don't know how far it's going to go in the future. But maybe there is a way, almost like your digital wallet, you'll have some sort of digital thumbprint that has things like your measurements or your height that could help you better envision. I think what we see is examples that are all the way out here, but I think in the future it'll probably meet a little bit more in the middle.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of related to what you just said. This next question, when we think about privacy, security, what do we want to have out there? And it almost sounds like, pardon me, maybe we won't have the choice. So the question here from Leslie is, how does this work when we have LLM and AI generated responses that might sound like us? So it might sound like I'm making a purchase, but maybe it's not me. So, excuse me, how do we navigate those very murky waters?
Yeah, I think that's where we need to think a lot about the integration of conversational interfaces with traditional interface and traditional security measures around things like payment or authentication. Those things will not go away. I think the way I think a lot about these experiences is AI is really powering the data. We need to have a layer on top that is going to manage the security, have all the sort of checks and balances that we already have. I don't think there will be a world where an entire shopping experience is only through a conversational interface that is powered by robots. Like, that won't happen. I think we're going to sort of marry these new innovations with some of the legacy architectures and frameworks to create something that feels new, but it's anchored in best practices that we have, decades of learning on.
And that are really evolving too, I would say. Yeah. As well. Yeah. I think it was probably about 6 years ago. Pardon me, Richard Yonk wrote a book called The Heart of the Machine, talked a lot about emotional AI, and was really predicting that, someday we would have a retail experience where every nuance in our facial expression would be read. And so before we would even express our opinion or our feeling about a product, the AI would know how we felt and be able to offer us something else, that something might suit us better. I'm just wondering, like, how close are we to that sort of emotional AI, the AI that's going to almost know what we want before we know that we want it?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know how far along we are with emotion, but when it comes to data and retail, retailers are already collecting immense amounts of data,
Yeah,
and getting ahead of where, what we might be interested in before we've even thought about it. That's recommendation engines. This exists already.
Yeah.
I think it's scary to think, oh no, and now it's going to take this leap, but it's already happening. Within the AI landscape, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and within the AI world, there's already two different groups where AI basically AI is using models are using other models to
Right.
check and balance the results that are coming through. But there's also a frame of thought where humans are reviewing the results that are coming out of various models and using that as checks and balances. So I think even within this space, the experts who are working on it, I don't think it's yet known. Can AI be fully powered by computing, or does it require some sort of human in the loop interaction? And so I think we don't yet know the answer. But I think a lot of the sort of foundations of these ideas, they exist already, and they're live and they're working, and we're interacting with them every day. And hopefully it brings me a little bit of peace. Hopefully it does for you guys as well.
Yeah, this is a kind of a related question, and maybe you've already answered it. But again, just going back to this whole idea of sort of empathy and detecting emotion, I was just reflecting on the voice ordering when you played the video where the male voice was ordering a child's meal and then changing, I want apple juice instead. And I was just thinking about when my children were little, I would not have been that calm. I probably would have been quite frantic, and there would have been lots of voices in the background. And I'm just wondering if we're close to the recognition being more than just the words themselves, if we're getting close to some kind of a recognition of the tone of the way the customer might need to be treated in the context of what their voice is conveying.
I think we definitely are. I think in the category of sentiment analysis, I think we're very far along. In some of the work that we've done internally, we've built our own sentiment analysis engines where we can upload user research videos and output a synthesis of what the customer feedback might be. Again, that's already been powered by years of sort of research and capability that you see in tools like Hootsuite. That's what they're doing, that sentiment analysis, kind of analyzing the content that's coming through from various social channels and generating what that might mean for your brand, right? I think that's very close. It's there. This exists. I think too, with sort of the processing and being able to strip out the noise and things like that, I think all of those capabilities are really powerful and are out there on the market.
I know you talked about starting small and iterating. If you were to make a list, what would be the sort of the top 5 things that retailers really need to be paying attention to, thinking about, or even the top 3? If they're not playing in these spaces yet, where should they start specifically? What would be the top 3 things, let's say?
Yeah. So in no particular order, 3 things. I think we've found the low-hanging fruit for most retailers to be in customer care. I think it's you need a body of data to start with, and typically that data exists either through prior call logs or the training manuals that you're using for your customer care teams. it's a great place to start when it comes to experimenting with AI and figuring out how it could fit within your process or the limitations within your process. I think another place to start is to think about how you can use AI to shortcut back office tasks, whether it's content management or writing product descriptions. Again, it's not to let the technical capabilities run wild. You need teams of people. Again, that human in the loop capability to kind of gut check what's going out there, to shape it, to be that final check. But I think that's also really low hanging fruit and gets the organization really familiar with how the technologies work. And then finally, I would just keep an eye out for what's on the horizon when it comes to search. Search is just, again, it's again that low hanging fruit. That's where users are typing in natural language. So being able to output in natural language could be really powerful. But search is a tough thing to experiment with. That could really have a performance impact on your business. And so I think that's where I would keep an eye out on what enterprise players are doing, or if you can bring in some of those capabilities into more of a customer facing context, like kind of like what we saw in our conversational commerce explorations around, can you bring products? Can you bring reviews? Can you bring recommendations into your chat experiences? That can be incredibly powerful and something to start playing with.
Yeah, I guess nothing really replaces the need for companies to really just develop a relationship with their customers, a legitimate relationship with their customers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we're out of time for questions. Rachel, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for posting your questions. We're about to take a break. So again, Rachel, thank you so much. That was full of very thought-provoking issues, and I'm definitely going to be watching the video back and keeping in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.